Let me tell you something. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make in life is no move at all. Just step back and get quiet. Because silence isn't weakness. It's strength under control. It's pain turned into wisdom. It's discipline wrapped in patience. You see, there comes a point in your life when you stop chasing people. You stop explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you, and you start focusing on you, your peace, your growth, your calling. You learn that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every person is meant to go where you're going. And that's when it happens. That's when everything starts to shift. You ever sit in a room full of noise, people talking, opinions flying, chaos swirling, and feel like your spirit is telling you to just be still? That's not you being weak. That's your soul whispering, let them talk, let them spin, let them guess. Because silence, real silence, is a form of strength most people will never understand. In a world that tells you to react, to post, to clap back, to scream your side of the story, silence becomes a rare and dangerous discipline. People will call you distant. They'll call you cold. They'll say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. You've grown. You've learned that peace is not found in proving points. It's found in knowing who you are without having to announce it. That's maturity. That's power. And most of all, that's freedom. There is a special kind of energy in the one who doesn't respond. The one who no longer feels the need to defend every move, explain every step, justify every decision. You start realizing that not everyone is worthy of your energy. Some people are just noise in your journey, and you don't have to entertain it. When you hold your tongue while someone tries to provoke you, that's power. When you choose not to respond to drama, that's growth. Silence isn't avoidance, it's intention. It's you choosing peace over ego. And don't let anyone mistake that for weakness. A person who can remain silent while they're being tested, judged, or doubted is a person who has mastered the art of self-control. And self-control, that's the foundation of every strong soul. Silence gives you clarity. When you stop talking so much, you start hearing more, especially from God. The world is loud. People are loud. But truth is quiet. It doesn't scream. It waits for silence to reveal itself. That's why people who constantly need noise don't find peace. Because peace lives in the quiet spaces, in the stillness of the moment when you stop chasing and start listening. When you're silent, you start noticing what really matters. Who really cares? What really deserves your time? And most importantly, who you are when no one's looking. That version of you, the one that doesn't need applause or permission, is the real you. And when you find that, you start building from a place of strength, not insecurity. You don't shout to be heard. You don't have to scream to be seen. Let your silence be your confidence. Let your calm be your answer. Because the ones who are truly strong never have to announce it. They carry it. In how they walk, how they breathe, how they navigate the storm without complaining about the rain. Weak people talk about what they're going to do. Strong people just do it. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. And when it's done, the whole world takes notice. Not because you told them, but because you showed them. That's real strength. That's what silence builds, a legacy, not a performance. There's a reason why they say still waters run deep. The deeper the soul, the less noise it makes. You don't see a storm inside a shallow puddle. But when the ocean is calm, that's when it's at its most dangerous. That's the kind of silence you want to build. The kind that's rooted, still, undisturbed. People will poke at you just to get a reaction. They'll test your patience just to see if you'll break character. But when you stay silent, when you hold that peace with a steady hand, That's when you earn respect, not just from others, but from yourself. You begin to realize you don't have to respond to everything that doesn't align with your purpose. Silence makes people uncomfortable because it forces them to sit with themselves. When you stop engaging in arguments, when you no longer react to every disrespect, when you stay quiet in rooms where you used to scream for attention, it sends a message that says, I've outgrown this. And growth is silent. You'll never hear a tree grow, but one day its roots are so deep and its branches so strong that no storm can shake it. That's what silence does for you. It deepens your roots, builds your core, prepares you for seasons you can't even see coming yet. And when those storms come, you won't need to yell. You'll just stand, unmoved. And don't think for a second that people don't notice. They see your silence. They feel it. They talk about it. Some will be confused by it. Others will be threatened by it. But the right ones, the wise ones, they'll respect it. Because silence forces people to look inward. It holds a mirror up to their chaos. And when they can't pull you into their drama, when they can't shake your peace, they start realizing you're not like them. You're building something different. You're building stability, discipline, purpose, and that can't be bought or faked. It can only be earned in the quiet. We've been conditioned to think that strength is volume, that we've got to shout to be powerful. But silence is the language of the strong, the healed, the whole. It's the ones who've been through hell and came back standing that learn how to be silent. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they know saying it isn't always worth it. They've learned the value of letting things go, of walking away, of choosing peace over pride. And in that choice, they find freedom, real freedom, the kind that can't be shaken by gossip, disrespect, or misunderstanding. Silence teaches you patience, and patience is a weapon. In a world of rush, you become the one who waits, who watches, who listens, who moves when it's time, not when you're provoked. And when you move like that, you become dangerous in the best way. You're not emotional, you're intentional. You don't react, you respond. And when you do speak, every word carries weight. People start leaning in because they know when you speak, you mean it. That's the power silence gives you. It makes your presence felt even when you're not saying a word. And that kind of presence, that's real influence. And so don't let the world convince you that silence means defeat. It means you're rising. It means you're learning how to build without noise, how to protect without shouting, how to lead without demanding. It means you've stopped explaining yourself to those who never valued the explanation in the first place. It means you've discovered something sacred. You. The strongest version of you, the most dangerous version of you, the most dangerous version of you, the most dangerous version of you, the one who doesn't need to be seen to make an impact, the one who doesn't need to shout to change a room, because your silence, it speaks volumes. There comes a point in your life where you stop choosing noise and you start choosing peace. Not because you don't care anymore, but because you care too much about your mind, your heart, your spirit. And you start to realize, I can't afford to let anything disturb my peace anymore. You understand that protecting your peace is the most important thing you'll ever do. Because peace isn't just a feeling, it's survival. It's healing. It's what keeps you from breaking when life tries to crush you. And once you've tasted peace, real peace, you'll never go back to begging for chaos to love you. Peace doesn't mean your life is perfect. It means you're not giving your energy to things that don't deserve it. It means choosing to walk away from what disrespects your soul, even if it's familiar. It means releasing the people who only show up to take, drain, and disappoint. When peace becomes your priority, you begin to subtract everything that doesn't feed your spirit. You stop over-explaining. You stop chasing apologies. You stop answering calls that come with confusion. Because your peace is sacred. And once you start treating it like it is, life starts to change. Not around you, You start waking up with clarity. You start moving with purpose. You stop looking for validation in people who couldn't see your worth, even if you stood in front of them screaming. You no longer try to prove yourself in spaces you've outgrown. When your peace is your priority, you become unshakable. You start measuring success by your level of calm, not the amount of noise around you. And that's when you step into your power. Not the kind of power that dominates others, but the kind that centers you, heals you, keeps you grounded in the storm. People won't always understand this version of you. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you've gone cold, but they don't understand the cost of chaos. They don't know what it took for you to find this peace. The tears you cried, the nights you broke, the healing you fought for in silence. So no, you're not cold. You're just careful. You're guarded with your soul now, because you've learned that not everyone deserves to hold it. Some people only love you when you're hurting because that's when you're easier to control, but not anymore. Not now that peace sits at the throne of your life. Peace demands boundaries. You'll lose people when you start protecting your peace. But let them go. Because real love doesn't come with chaos. Real friends don't leave you drained. And if someone gets upset because you've chosen your well-being over their comfort, that's not your problem. That's a sign they never truly respected you. Your peace is not up for negotiation. It's not a group project, it's yours. And if someone is disrupting it, they've already told you everything you need to know. Protecting your peace means saying no. It means being misunderstood. It means walking away even when it hurts, and doing it anyway. There is no greater act of self-love than guarding your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. The stress, the anxiety, the constant emotional exhaustion, that's not life. That's the absence of peace. And you have every right to remove yourself from anything that robs you of joy, of balance, of hope. You were not created to live in constant defense mode. You deserve mornings that start with ease, not panic. Days filled with focus, not drama. Nights that end in gratitude, not overthinking. That's the life peace builds. And it starts when you make it your number one priority. Don't wait for a breakdown to start protecting your peace. Don't wait until your body is tired, your heart is numb, and your mind is overwhelmed. Start now, before the burnout, before the breakdown, before the anxiety becomes your home. Start now. Your peace isn't something you find, it's something you create. Through boundaries, through choices, through silence, through walking away. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And once you begin, you'll wonder why you ever lived any other way. Because the things you thought you needed, the people you tried to keep, they won't matter when your soul finally gets to breathe. You're not here to carry what's not yours. You're not here to solve everyone's problems at the cost of your own peace. You're not here to be the emotional dumping ground for people who never ask how you're doing. Let that sink in. It's not selfish to protect your energy. It's necessary, because when you're drained, you can't pour into anything else. When your spirit is restless, you can't hear your own purpose. And when you're constantly consumed by everyone else's chaos, you forget what your own peace sounds like. Reclaim that, reconnect with that. Make peace your default setting again. Start showing up for yourself the way you've shown up for everyone else. Start giving yourself the grace, the time, and the stillness that you've given others so freely. You don't have to be available for everything. You don't have to explain your absence. Protecting your peace sometimes means disappearing, recharging, and coming back whole. Because the world doesn't need more people who are constantly overwhelmed. It needs people who are whole, who are grounded, who are healed. That starts with you. You can't change everything around you, but you can change what you allow in your life. And peace is a decision you make daily. So every time you're tempted to go back to what hurt you, remind yourself your peace is your priority. Every time someone tries to drag you into chaos, remember your peace is your priority. When you feel guilty for cutting ties, choosing solitude, or taking space, breathe deep and say it again. My peace is my priority. Because without peace, success feels empty. Love feels exhausting. Life feels like survival. But with peace, life blooms, the heart heals, and purpose thrives. That's the life you're meant to live. That's the standard now. Not chaos, not drama, just peace. Pure, unshakable, holy peace. There comes a time in your life where you realize something powerful. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves to know your heart, your dreams, your fears. You spent too long giving people the best parts of you while they gave you the bare minimum. You've allowed too many to come close who never earned the right to be near you. And now you understand that your presence is a gift. Your energy is sacred, your time is valuable, and from this moment forward, you won't apologize for protecting it. People will act like they know you, but all they know is the version you allowed them to see. They were guests in your story, not authors of it. You don't owe them unlimited access to your emotions, your energy, your healing, your kindness. Some people only show up to drain you, to distract you, to feed off your light because they've never cultivated their own. But you're not a rehab center for broken people who refuse to heal. You're not a safe house for folks who keep setting fires in your soul. And you're done shrinking yourself to make space for those who don't even see your worth. You've got to stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You've got to stop opening doors for people who only know how to walk in and make a mess. Some people confuse your kindness for weakness. They think your silence means approval. But what they don't understand is you're not being quiet because you don't know what to say. You're being quiet because they no longer deserve to hear your voice. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone gets to sit next to royalty. You're not being mean. You're not being cold. You're being selective. And there's nothing wrong with that. You've learned through pain and disappointment that access is a privilege, not a right. The ones who truly care won't need to constantly prove themselves, but they'll never make you question your place in their life either. And those who keep wounding you with their presence don't need another chance to cause damage. Let them go. Because not everyone has the capacity to handle the weight of who you really are. And it's not your job to shrink just to fit into their fragile understanding. You are not a convenience. You are not a background character in someone else's chaos. You are not a fixer for problems that don't belong to you. The moment you begin to protect your access, you begin to protect your peace, your purpose, your destiny. You start seeing clearly who's there because they value you and who's there because they need something from you. And that clarity, that's your power. That's the moment you level up. Because boundaries are not walls, they're filters. They separate the real from the fake, the worthy from the opportunistic, the loyal from the leech. You don't owe your vulnerability to everyone. You don't have to share your story with people who haven't earned your trust. Some folks only want to get close so they can gather information, so they can use your honesty against you, so they can manipulate your softness and call it strength on their terms. But this isn't about being bitter. It's about being better, wiser, stronger. You're allowed to say, no, you don't get that part of me anymore. And the moment you say that, the moment you take your power back, sometimes you've got to sit with yourself and ask, why am I letting people who've done nothing for me take up so much space in my life? You'll realize it's not about how long they've known you. It's about how they've treated you. Loyalty is not about time. It's about consistency. And some people have been around for years and still never truly showed up for you. Meanwhile, others walked in, loved you with pure intentions, and respected your boundaries like it was second nature. That's who gets access. That's who earns the key to your world. You've been too available for too long, too understanding, too forgiving. But now, you've got to move different. Your love is rare, your presence is healing, your spirit is powerful, and you can't keep letting people mishandle it and then wonder why you feel drained. You are not obligated to entertain every call, respond to every message, show up for every event. You have the right to disappear, to distance, to protect, not to be rude, but to preserve your soul. Because once you learn how much peace comes from limited access, You'll never let just anyone back in. Watch how your life changes when you stop trying to be everything for everyone. Watch how your energy shifts when you're no longer pouring into broken cups. You'll have more clarity, more strength, more direction. And the right people, the ones who genuinely care, will understand your boundaries and honor your space. They won't guilt trip you. They won't manipulate you. They'll love you in your silence, stand by you through your growth, and never make you feel bad for choosing yourself, because they get it, they respect it, and more importantly, they deserve you. So from here on out, you don't owe anyone a backstage pass to your soul just because they showed up once for the show. Some people were meant to clap from the balcony, not walk through the doors of your heart. Don't hand out VIP access to people who treat you like general admission. Be kind, be compassionate, but be selective. Because not everyone deserves access to you. And that's not arrogance, that's self-respect. That's wisdom. That's power. And now that you know better, you move better. Sometimes life strips everything away just to show you what truly matters. Friends stop calling, the crowd gets quiet, the noise fades, and all you've got left is you, alone in the silence. That's where growth begins. Not when everyone's cheering you on, not when life is going smooth. Growth begins when you're face to face with yourself in the stillness. When you're stripped of the distractions. When there's no applause, no approval, no audience. Just you, your pain, your truth, and the decisions you make from there. That isolation, it's not a punishment. It's preparation. It's where God does his deepest work. Because in the crowd, it's easy to fake it. It's easy to blend in, to wear masks, to perform. But when you're alone, the performance ends. The mask falls. And the real you shows up. That version of you you've been avoiding, that's who you meet in isolation. And yeah, it's uncomfortable, it's raw, but it's necessary. Because growth never feels like growth when you're going through it. It feels like pain. It feels like confusion. It feels like loneliness. But beneath all of that, there's a seed being watered. There's strength being built. There's transformation taking place in silence. You don't find your strength surrounded by noise. You find it in the quiet battles no one sees. When you're crying at 2 a.m. but still get up the next morning. When your phone is dry but you still speak life into yourself. When no one checks on you but you still keep going. That's real growth. That's maturity. That's becoming. See, the caterpillar doesn't transform in public. It goes into the dark, alone, wrapped up, hidden from the world. And when it emerges, it's unrecognizable. That's what isolation does. It transforms you in private so you can reintroduce yourself in power. You start learning things about yourself in isolation. You learn what triggers you. You learn what wounds haven't healed. You learn what boundaries you've never set. You start confronting your patterns, your habits, your choices. And in that confrontation, you find clarity. You find out who you've been, who you are, and who you're meant to become. Some environments weren't comfort, they were cages. Some people weren't support, they were noise. And when you sit with that truth, it stings. But it also sets you free. See, the isolation isn't breaking you. It's breaking the version of you that was never built to last. It's tearing down the lies you told yourself to survive. It's removing the crutches you leaned on for too long. It's exposing the areas you neglected. And yeah, it feels like loss. It feels like everything's falling apart, but what's really happening? Everything false is being stripped so the real you can rise. Isolation doesn't just reveal truth, it births transformation. And those quiet nights, those unseen tears, that's the price of elevation. People won't understand why you disappeared. They'll ask where you went, why you changed, why you're so quiet now. And you won't always have the words for it, because what happened in isolation wasn't for them, it was for you. It was personal, it was divine, it was sacred. While they were out there chasing noise, you were being molded in silence. While they were looking for validation, you were building foundation. While they were being loud, you were becoming solid. You chose to do the work when no one was watching. And now, the results will speak louder than words ever could. Growth will cost you some people. Growth will cost you some comfort. Growth will require you to sit in silence and ask hard questions. And sometimes it'll feel like you're losing, like you're missing out. But you're not. You're shedding. You're elevating. You're stepping into a version of you that no longer needs external validation. You don't need the claps. You don't need the approval. You've got peace now. You've got alignment now. You've got purpose now. And those things, they're priceless. That's what isolation gave you. And once you've grown in isolation, you'll never return to the noise the same way again. You'll stop seeking shallow connections. You'll stop tolerating half-hearted love. You'll stop chasing what doesn't serve you. You'll move different. Speak different. Think different. Because once you've tasted your own strength in solitude, you'll never again let anyone distract you from it. You become protective of your peace, intentional with your time, selective with your energy. And that version of you, that's the one who changes everything. That's the one who walks in purpose and refuses to settle. So the next time life gets quiet, don't panic. Lean into it, embrace it, trust that something sacred is happening beneath the surface. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. You're not being forgotten. You're being formed. Let the crowd go, let the distractions fall, let the silence shape you, because in the stillness, your power is being born. And when you come out of that season, you won't just survive. You'll look back and realize isolation wasn't your breakdown, it was your breakthrough. You won't need to explain your silence to anyone. You won't need to justify your distance, because real growth speaks for itself. Real transformation is undeniable. And the ones who get it, they'll feel it when you walk in the room. They'll sense the difference. They'll know you went through something sacred. So let them wonder, let them whisper, let them miss the old you. Because the version that's emerging in isolation, that one doesn't chase. That one doesn't beg. That one builds. And now, you're building for real. Focus. It's not just about ignoring distractions. It's about remembering who you are. It's about choosing moment after moment not to be pulled in every direction. When your mind is scattered, your spirit becomes weary. But when your focus is clear, you move with power, you walk with purpose, you speak with conviction. Focus isn't about tunnel vision. It's about sacred vision. Seeing beyond the noise, seeing beyond temporary pleasure, seeing beyond what others expect of you. And when you lock in on what truly matters, on what you were born for, that's when things start to shift. That's when your soul begins to line up with your destiny. See, alignment doesn't happen by accident. It's not some magical event. Alignment happens when your values, your choices, and your direction start moving in harmony. And that only comes with focus. The world is loud. Temptation is loud. Chaos is loud. But truth whispers. Purpose whispers. And if you're not focused, you'll miss it. You'll miss the signs. You'll miss the moments. You'll miss the divine timing. Focus is how you hear God in a world full of static. Focus is how you remember your why when everything tries to distract you from it. And in that remembrance, your alignment begins. But here's the hard part. Focus costs you. It costs you comfort. It costs you convenience. It costs you people who don't understand why you're not available like you used to be. You can't be everything for everyone and stay aligned with your calling. You can't be in 1,000 places mentally and still expect to move with clarity. Focus demands boundaries. Focus demands silence. Focus demands discipline. Because alignment isn't just about what you add to your life, it's also about what you subtract. The wrong people, the wrong patterns, the wrong priorities, they have to go. And that letting go, that's where strength is born. When you begin to focus, life starts clearing up. Things that once seemed confusing now make sense. Doors that were closed begin to open, not because you forced them, but because your spirit finally matched the frequency of your assignment. You don't have to chase what you're aligned with. It finds you, it flows. But you'll never feel that flow if your attention is always elsewhere. Your energy is sacred. And wherever you direct it, that's where your life grows. You can't expect peace if your focus is always on problems. You can't expect purpose if your eyes are always on people. Focus shifts your reality. People may say you've changed. They might think you're distant, cold, different. And maybe you are. Because once you understand what's at stake, you stop playing small. You stop showing up for conversations that drain you. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Focus sharpens you. It refines you. It helps you separate what's urgent from what's important. You begin to realize that not every call needs to be answered. Not every fight needs to be fought. Not every invitation deserves your presence. You move from reaction to intention, from chaos to clarity, from hustle to harmony. And that's when alignment starts to feel like home. When your inner world matches your outer world. When your habits support your healing. When your goals reflect your growth. When your prayers align with your steps, you start to feel it in your body, in your choices, in your peace. Life feels less forced, more fluid, more fulfilling, because you're no longer pretending. You're no longer scattered. You're locked in. And that focus creates momentum. That alignment creates grace. That commitment creates miracles. All because you stopped looking around and started looking within. When you're truly focused, you stop seeking validation. You stop begging to be seen. Because you realize the work you're doing in private will show up in public when the time is right. Focus teaches patience. Focus teaches trust. That just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not happening. That just because people don't see the vision yet doesn't mean it's not real. You keep building, you keep believing, you keep showing up, even when no one's clapping. Because alignment isn't about applause. It's about assignment. And focus keeps you faithful to that assignment. Let others chase trends, you stay grounded in truth. Let others move for attention, you move for purpose. Let others scroll, wander, and react, you stay planted, listening, discerning, growing. That's what separates the distracted from the disciplined. The noisy from the necessary, the confused from the called. Focus is how you protect your peace. It's how you stop giving energy to what's not aligned with your destiny. Because not everything deserves a response. Not everything needs your presence. And once you know that, you become dangerous, unshakable, purpose-driven. The more focused you become, the more sensitive you become to what's misaligned. You'll feel it faster, you'll recognize it quicker. That conversation doesn't sit right. That environment drains your soul. That opportunity looks good, but it's not right. You learn to trust that inner signal, that gut check, that divine voice saying, this isn't for you. And instead of ignoring it, you honor it. That's the power of focus. It reconnects you to your inner compass. You stop asking everyone else for directions and you start following you, your intuition, your God-given wisdom, your divine alignment. So, don't be afraid to get quiet. Don't be afraid to pull back. Don't be afraid to choose depth over noise, intention over attention. Because the moment you begin to focus, things start falling into place. Not because the world changes, but because you do. Your mind gets clear, your heart gets steady, your steps become sure, and alignment follows focus like a shadow. Stay focused. That's the gateway to everything you're praying for. Talk is cheap, but action is priceless. You can say all the right things. You can post quotes, you can make promises, you can give speeches, but if your life doesn't reflect it, none of it means a thing. People may not remember everything you said, but they'll never forget what you did. Your character is written in what you consistently do, not what you occasionally say. Real ones don't need to announce themselves. They don't need to declare their intentions every 5 minutes. They just show up day in and day out, moving in silence, letting their discipline echo louder than any speech could. You want to be respected? Stop trying to convince people with words. Show them with your grind. Let your results speak on your behalf. You don't need to tell people how focused you are. Let your consistency show it. You don't need to say you've changed. Let your behavior prove it. You don't need to explain that you're healing. Let your peace be the evidence. When your actions are aligned with your truth, you don't need to chase validation. People start to feel it. Your energy shifts. Your presence commands attention, not because you're loud, but because you're real. In a world full of noise, silence backed by action is revolutionary. Everybody's talking on social media, in group chats, in rooms where nothing ever gets done. But very few are moving. Very few are building. Very few are sacrificing. And if you're serious about becoming the person you were born to be, you've got to move different. Don't argue about your value. Show up and deliver. Don't beg for support. Become undeniable. Don't explain your journey. Walk it with courage. The loudest people usually have the least to offer, but the ones who move quietly, they're the ones changing their lives. Your actions are a mirror to your mindset. If your steps are scattered, your focus is scattered. If your behavior is inconsistent, your beliefs are inconsistent. But when you're locked in, when your intentions match your execution, people can feel it. You walk into a room and you don't have to say a word. Your presence says it all. It says, I'm disciplined. It says, I've been through some things and I've grown. It says, I'm not trying to impress. I'm just trying to be who I'm called to be. There's a quiet power in that. That's the kind of power that lasts. There comes a point where you stop explaining and start evolving, where you stop posting about the grind and start living it, where your life becomes your testimony. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Your growth, your healing, your transformation will speak for itself. Let people assume what they want. Let them talk. While they're watching, you're working. While they're gossiping, while they're distracted, you're building something they'll one day admire. But by then, you'll be too focused to even notice. Because success isn't loud. Healing isn't dramatic. Purpose doesn't scream. It just moves. When your actions speak, people listen differently. They don't just hear you, they feel you. Because they know you've paid the price. They know you've walked through the fire and came out better. They know you've sacrificed, stayed up late, gotten up early, and stayed true to the process. And that kind of energy, it's magnetic. You won't have to ask for respect. You won't have to chase opportunities. They'll come to you, not because of what you said, but because of what you did. That's the reward of alignment, of letting your life do the talking. But here's the truth. Actions require discipline, and discipline is rare. Anybody can make a plan. Anybody can say, I'm going to change. But only the strong follow through. Only the focused stay consistent when the motivation fades. Only the determined keep going when nobody claps. Because this isn't about performing for applause. This is about becoming who you were destined to be, even when nobody's watching. That's where integrity is built. That's where strength is formed. And eventually the fruits of that silent work begin to bloom in public. But it always starts in the shadows. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you're speaking. Every time you say no to distraction, you're declaring your focus. Every time you stay consistent with your values, you're making a statement without ever opening your mouth. That's real influence. That's real leadership, not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that earns respect. And that's what separates the talkers from the doers. Because anyone can speak, few can live it. And if you're one of the few who can, your life becomes a legacy. So stop trying to convince them. Stop over-explaining. Stop waiting for people to understand. Let your actions speak for your growth. Let your silence echo your strength. Let your presence be proof of your power. Because when you stop talking and start living, the world will feel the difference. And the right ones, the ones meant for your journey, they'll recognize it. Not because you told them, but because your life shouted the truth they couldn't ignore. You spend so much of your life chasing love, chasing validation, chasing success, chasing people who were never meant to stay. You run and run, thinking that the more you hustle, the more you prove, the more you give, the closer you'll get to happiness. But you don't realize the very act of chasing means it's still running from you. Peace doesn't live in pursuit, it lives in presence. Growth doesn't come from begging, it comes from becoming. When you stop looking outward and start looking inward, that's when things begin to change. You don't need to chase what's already yours. You just need to become the version of you that's ready to receive it. We've been conditioned to believe that struggle is a requirement to be seen, that if we're not constantly proving our worth, we'll be forgotten. So we run ourselves dry, exhausting our spirit, all to feel temporarily needed. But what if I told you that when you stop chasing approval, you unlock authenticity? What if I told you that when you stop chasing connection, you attract alignment? Because when you're whole within, the right things naturally gravitate toward you. You don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to beg for it. You simply attract what matches your energy. You are not meant to spend your life convincing people to love you, see you, or support you. That's not your purpose. Your purpose is to become someone so aligned with truth, with faith, with growth, that what is meant for you can find you without resistance. Because when you're chasing, you're coming from a place of lack. You're telling the world, I don't believe I'm enough, so I need to chase what I think will make me whole. But when you stop chasing and start becoming, you step into power. You step into abundance. You become a magnet for miracles. You ever notice how the things you forced never lasted? How the people you begged to stay were the ones who left you feeling most broken? That's because chasing creates pressure, and pressure without peace always crumbles. But when you release control, when you surrender your need to force outcomes, you open the door to alignment. That job, that relationship, that opportunity, it'll come not because you chased it, but because you became someone ready to hold it. See, the goal is not to find success. The goal is to grow into the kind of person who can sustain it. Real transformation happens in the becoming. It's in the quiet decisions. The morning you got up even though you didn't feel like it. The night you chose healing over distraction. The moment you chose peace over chaos. That's where it starts. That's where your power is built. Every small decision, every silent victory, it all adds up to becoming the version of you that doesn't chase blessings but hosts them. Because a healed soul doesn't need to chase. A focused mind doesn't get distracted. A whole heart doesn't beg. It attracts what aligns. It builds what lasts. Becoming is an inside job. It's not for show. It's not about proving. It's about preparing. You don't have to announce your transformation. Your energy will do that for you. You don't have to tell them you've changed. Your presence will say it all. When you stop trying to be chosen and start choosing yourself, you start moving different. Your boundaries get stronger. Your time gets sacred. Your focus gets laser sharp. That's when the noise dies down and the clarity rises up. That's when everything that once felt out of reach slowly starts finding its way to you. The world will try to convince you that you're falling behind, that you're not enough until you have the title, the status, the likes, the applause. But don't let the world rush you. Don't let it trick you into chasing things that don't feed your soul. You are not behind, you are in process. You are not lost, you are being refined. And when you focus on becoming rather than performing, the timing of your life will start to make sense. The delays won't feel like punishments, they'll feel like preparation. And you'll understand that what's truly for you won't pass you. You don't need to chase anyone or anything when you're aligned with purpose. Your purpose will position you exactly where you need to be. So take your eyes off the race and put your heart into your becoming. Become disciplined, become faithful, become peaceful, become whole, and watch how everything starts showing up differently. People will feel it, opportunities will recognize it, and most importantly, you will feel it. You'll walk with a quiet confidence, not because you chased approval, but because you finally approved of yourself. There's a freedom that comes when you stop running after everything, when you realize that your only job is to rise, evolve, and stay rooted in truth. Everything else, the love, the peace, the calling, it finds you along the way, not when you beg for it, but when you're ready to carry it. And readiness doesn't come from urgency, it comes from consistency, from showing up when no one's watching, from becoming someone whose value can't be shaken even in silence. That's the shift, from desperation to dignity, from needing to knowing, from chasing to being. So stop running, stop chasing, and start becoming. Start walking like you already carry the crown. Start acting like the door has already opened, and even if it hasn't, become the kind of person who would walk through it with humility and strength. Because the moment you stop chasing and start becoming, that's when everything starts falling into place. Not because you controlled it, but because you were finally ready to receive it. So here we are. After all the silence, after all the self-work, after all the moments of breaking and rebuilding, what you just walked through is not a formula. It's not a list of instructions. It's a transformation, a shift in mindset, a call back to yourself. This isn't about perfection or performing for the world. It's about protecting your peace, about becoming who you were always meant to be before the noise got loud and the world told you to chase. It's about remembering that your silence holds power, that your isolation births clarity, and that not everyone deserves access to your energy. You're not here to convince people to see your worth. You're here to live it, breathe it, embody it. There comes a time when the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. When your silence becomes your sword, your shield, and your sanctuary. When you realize that peace isn't a place you go, it's something you choose every single day in how you respond, what you let go of, and who you allow into your space. It's not about holding grudges, it's about holding your power. And that power, it grows in the quiet. In those moments when you chose discipline over distraction, when you chose solitude over shallow connection, when you stopped explaining yourself and started evolving in silence. Not everyone is meant to walk with you. Not everyone can handle your growth, your healing, your calling, and that's okay. The right people won't be intimidated by your boundaries. They'll be inspired by your strength. When you stop chasing and start becoming, the universe starts to move. Everything begins to align, not because you forced it, but because you were finally ready. Ready to release, ready to grow, ready to become. That's when the shift happens. That's when the doors open. That's when you realize you didn't need to beg, to chase, to plead. You just needed to believe in the power of who you're becoming. So keep showing up even when no one is clapping. Keep evolving even when no one is watching. Keep healing even when it's messy. And most of all, keep choosing you again and again and again. Because that's when the magic happens. Not when you're chasing the world's version of success, but when you're anchored in your own version of peace. You owe it to yourself to stop performing and start becoming. The peace, the clarity, the alignment, it all follows the decision to be unapologetically you. Quietly, powerfully, intentionally you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for choosing this path. May you continue to grow in grace, move in silence, and rise with purpose. God bless you. Stay strong, stay grounded, and above all, stay true to yourself.